Welcome back to another video. So it is Wednesday afternoon. I think it's just gone 1. I'm actually doing pretty well for time today. Just on my way to my parents now. Gonna hang out there for a bit before I train. I think I'm getting my brows and lashes done today. I was on the phone to my mum earlier and she's like, yeah, I've got you booked in for this afternoon. I was like, I didn't have a clue. But yeah, no, so got to get there in good time, get that done, train, and then I think my sister needs help with a flat pack, which is just a terrible idea because 1, it's going to be pretty late by the time I've trained, and 2, I'm not good at flat packs, but she is like me in that when she has something that needs to be done, she wants it done there and then, so I get it. So that could be interesting, but yeah, that's not really relevant to anything though. So yeah, I need to head to my parents now, hang out for a bit, and then train. It is week 3, so fairly heavy numbers. I've been saying this every week of this block, like, the numbers I've got planned for each week feel a little bit ridiculous, but they've all been moving better than expected. So, yeah, the best thing I ever have really for these weeks. So I'm excited to get the session done. Not sure which knee sleeves I'm going to wear yet today. It's quite warm again, so I have a feeling it'll be easier to just wear my rigor mortis, just because they're easy to get on and off in the heat. So I might just stick to them now, but we'll see. Anyway, I am going to head there and I will see you when I start training.
We head for the sky, it's alright. Our wings wouldn't fly, it's alright. If we are crashing down again, pieces of love, it's alright. Scattered in mud, it's alright. You're giving me a lie again. And tell me what you want, this time I won't take it to the heart, cause I know we won't make it out. I've heard it all before. Yeah, tell me what you want, let me hear that I'm the only one. You know that we won't make it out. We've heard it all before. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright, so let's move on. 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 We head for the sky, it's alright. Our wings wouldn't fly, it's alright. If we are crashing down again, pieces of love, it's alright. Scattered in mud, it's alright. You're giving me a lie again. And tell me what you want, this time I won't take it to the heart, cause I know we won't make it out. I've heard it all before. Yeah, tell me what you want, let me hear that I'm the only one. You know that we won't make it out. We've heard it all before. It's alright. Hey. It's alright. Hey. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright, so let's move on. 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 It's alright, so let's move on.
Okay, so it's Friday. I have just got home, and as you can tell, I did not film anything really on Wednesday night. So Wednesday I ended up being in a rush. I mentioned before, like, I needed to get to my sister's to help her with some flat packing and stuff, so I didn't want to be there super late because I had to be up early on Thursday, so I basically had to make sure that my session was done in good time. Now, that didn't actually happen because after squats, my boyfriend came to my parents' house because my mum was going to cut his hair. So I was like, right, I'll squat before he comes, I'll sit indoors while he has that done for like 20 minutes or so, have a bit of a break, have a breather, hang out with them, and then I will get back to training. However, when he sat down to have his haircut, my dad arrived and my sister and my nephew arrived just before that as well. So it ended up being everyone sat together talking for like over an hour. So I had a massive break between squats and bench. Also, excuse the statement, I've literally just walked home and it's boiling hot outside and I am sweating. Yeah, so Wednesday and Thursday I'll give you an update on, because basically I'm a bit concerned about myself. Good things first. Wednesday session was great. Squats felt really good. I've decided to, or at very last minute, like literally as I was getting my kit out, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wear my rigs for this session, purely because it was warm, it was stuffy, and rigs are easier to get on than SPD's powerlifting sleeves because the material is that much denser, they don't bunch up on your legs, and I just didn't want to fight on my SPD sleeves. Like they're pretty, like for a knee sleeve, my SPD sleeves, they're not super tight, they're pretty easy to get on for the most part, but when it's hot, when I'm already a bit sweaty, it's just not fun putting them on, and they do cling to your skin quite a lot. Where the rigor mortis, although they hurt like hell when I like undo them all the way, like untuck, I was gonna say unhalf them, that's not a thing. When I unfold them, that's what I was trying to say. When I unfold them at my quad, they are incredibly painful, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that they are so painful. But I would actually rather that than have them bunch up, if I'm honest, because when they're bunched up, they don't ever feel like they're fully on properly and it's just a bit uncomfortable. So I basically made the decision very last second that I'm gonna just wear my rigs for both sessions and squat in them probably until after the British, and then I can decide if I want to change things up or not. I'm also gonna open the window and let some air in. Yeah, so for now I'm just gonna stick with the rigs. What have I got to say about squats? So squats move well. 162.5 for 5 moved incredibly well. I did the first rep, and as I was coming out of the hole on the first rep, I was like, oh yeah, shit, you've got to use your legs. So I actually put a bit of effort in after the first rep, and honestly, I finished the 5th rep, and I remember thinking in the back of my mind, I could do 5 more reps right now if I had to. Like, if that someone stood there gun to head, I could have done 10 reps at 162.5 the other day, and I genuinely believe that. None of those reps were a struggle. It just required, obviously, a normal amount of effort to move them as it would. So 162.5 for the easiest set of 5. That is just 2.5 below my best ever set of 5. So I'm very happy with that. And then my back offs moved so comfortably as well. So I am basically very happy with how squats moved. It's that thing again, I've definitely said this like every video, but I don't think the rigs add to my squat, but I do think they add to my confidence in the whole. And obviously the more confident you are, the better things are gonna move. So I feel like I can't stop fidgeting. I'm also a bit out of breath from talking too fast. Nothing new. Yeah, so squats went really well. I'm happy with squats. Bench, after my ridiculously long break, did go well. Sometimes, like if you are a lifter, you will know that there are just some sessions where technique just doesn't click. It just doesn't quite feel right. No matter what you do, something just feels a bit off. And this is what happened with bench this day. And if you've been following my videos, you know that sinking bench is a pretty new skill for me. I've literally done it for like, I think this is the 7th week of doing it, maybe 8th. Like I haven't been doing it for long. And up until the start of this block, I was doing it once a week as well. So very new still. Minimal like practice at it still. And I'm just trying to obviously get used to it, which is why I do my ascending sets before my singles. And then obviously I do my back offs as well. So I did 70 as my first warm-up, as I always do. And my parents and my sister were in the room still. And so we were kind of all talking as I was doing my warm-ups. Or my warm-up, I literally just did 70 and then jumped to my first ascending set. But because I was kind of distracted from what I was doing, obviously 70 moved fine, it's 70, it always moves fine. But I didn't really think what I was doing through. So then I jumped to 90 for my first ascending set. And again, it moved absolutely fine. Technique wasn't clicking, but it was fine. And then it wasn't until 2 reps into 95 that I realised I didn't have my belt on, and I've been benching with a belt recently and it feels much better with a belt. So after 95, I then put my belt on and it definitely felt better with my belt. But the thing that I'm actually really happy with is because it was a day where my technique didn't feel consistent. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that as I'm still getting used to sinking bench, it is quite common that I do occasionally lose my line on the press. And it is, you know, that's where the inconsistency comes from. The last couple of sessions, that's happened less and less. And actually, from what I remember, that didn't really happen at all on Wednesday. I didn't lose my line. My technique fell off, but it was more just that it just didn't, like everything just fell off. Like it just wasn't, I don't know how to explain it, but actually for an off day, my new technique was still very consistent. Like my reps didn't look much different from set to set. Also something that I found interesting. So my back offs at 97.5, they were difficult, especially by the last set. And I think next week I'll probably just repeat the same weight rather than push any heavier. But one, the last set, I thought the last reps were quite slow. Watching them back, they were absolutely not. They moved absolutely fine, which makes me very confident that once I get more confident with sinking bench, there is going to be a lot of untapped potential there, because if weights are moving that quickly still, I know it's one of those things where you can just have a sudden drop off, but I know my body and I know myself, and I genuinely think there is going to be a lot of room there. I don't know how long it's going to take me, obviously, to get used to that and to have the confidence with sinking bench. It might not happen in my comps this year, but I know, like, I'm so confident that it was the right move. The other thing that I found interesting is as I was getting more fatigued towards the end of my back off sets, I actually started pausing the reps for longer on my chest, because although you still have some tension, obviously, as you're as you've sunk the bar on your chest, you don't obviously just completely let go of it. It's a lot more of a break than what you would get on a soft touch. Like, I felt like I was almost recovering slightly by holding it longer on my chest. And the reason I went to sinking in or one of the main reasons, was because I lose so much strength when it comes to the press command. And I struggle to hold my position anyway, which is another reason. But obviously it's common that you're not going to be able to touch and go and pause bench the same amount. Like, your touch and go is going to be stronger most likely, or very short pause is going to be stronger. But it was like a ridiculous drop off for me. So that's why I wanted to try sinking. That wasn't the only reason, that was just one reason. And it was just interesting to me that I almost felt like I was getting a bit of a break with my longer pauses on sinking. So that makes me really like confident and happy that when it gets to comps, if I have a comp where I get a stricter press command, it shouldn't hinder my bench that much. So that is another positive as well. My phone keeps going off. I'm just going to ignore that. And then deadlifts. So deadlifts are where things started to go a little bit downhill. Not because of deadlifts themselves. Well, yes, kind of because of deadlifts themselves. Deadlifts themselves were fine. They weren't easy, but they were never supposed to be easy. I don't know what I'm going to load next week for my week 4. The plan was to hopefully be able to load 170 for sets of 4 next week. But by the third set of 162.5, they did feel very difficult. But then I think I might just load it for one set and then maybe drop the weight after that. I'm just going to see how things feel next week. And also next week I am training in a gym. I'm training at Iron Warehouse, which is like a 35-40 minute drive from mine. They've got comp kit. And this is going to sound like the most pathetic excuse, but it genuinely does make a tiny difference, and that's all I need. My plates at home are ever so slightly smaller than comp plates. So when I then go from deadlifting at home to deadlifting on like calibrated proper comp plates, I do always feel like it feels ever so slightly easier, just because of that like extra couple of centimeters of range of motion that I have when I'm at home. It sounds like the most pathetic princess-y thing, but it is genuinely true. And also I won't, like when I'm at my parents' house, I'm a bit more concerned about how I put the bar on the floor. And although I don't control it fully, I know when I'm in a gym, I can almost like not drop it, but obviously drop it less controlled, and that will save a bit of energy too. So I'm not really going to try and think too much about deadlifts. I do think I'm still struggling mentally with deadlifts, but then that's always been a thing for me. I am still confident that by the time comp comes, I'll be able to load something heavy. Like deadlift singles and doubles, to be fair, I'm fine with them. It's literally just rep work on deadlifts I think I get nervous for. I don't know if it's because when I've hurt myself on deadlifts in the past, it's been rep work. And obviously by the end of a set, you're fatigued, your positioning might break down a little bit, that sort of thing. Where with a single, it's easier to kind of nail it first try. But yeah, so deadlifts mentally I've been struggling with. And obviously at the end of my session, it was getting quite late, and yeah, so that's what I was going to say. But the thing that actually has upset me the most with deadlifts is, I mentioned a couple of videos ago, it was I think 2 weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago, I'm fairly confident that I dislocated my thumb. Very quickly, very briefly, out and in, because I didn't actually see it happen. But I definitely felt something happen in my thumb. And the pain has not improved since just after it happened. Maybe it's improved marginally, because I know the next day I went to have a glass, like a drink out of a glass, and I couldn't actually lift it because I couldn't hold the glass with my thumb. So it's definitely improved since then, but it still hurts to do anything. Like, I always have my drink on my left-hand side when I'm sat at my desk, and I go to pick up my can or my bottle or whatever I've got, and it hurts. I go to unscrew the lid on my bottle, and it hurts. Like, it's very annoying. But what's even more annoying is it has now gotten worse again, because deadlifts on Wednesday, as I was dropping the bar to the floor, the vibration as it hit the floor and like the impact, the rebound, would like rebound into that like squishy bit around your thumb, which then presses into the joint where it's been really painful. So as I was doing my sets, I noticed that it was obviously doing that, but I was like, well, I can't not deadlift, so I'm just gonna carry on, it's fine. It wasn't making it worse to the point where I thought it was gonna break or anything awful, it was just starting to ache. And when I finished my session, my thumb was aching so much, and all of yesterday my thumb was aching. Today my thumb is aching. Very upset about this, but it's fine. The other thing that has affected me as well is my elbow. Now my left elbow. Now someone did actually comment on one of my videos who is also going to Commonwealth, and I just want to say, if anyone does happen to be going to Commonwealth that is watching this, please let me know, and if you do see me, please come and say hello. I know the chances of that are very slim, but if it does happen, please make sure that you do. But yeah, if you're doing Commonwealth and you're watching these as well, let me know. I'm very intrigued. But yeah, no, someone was telling me about, in a comment, about their elbow issues in the past, and they suggested switching up to maybe use a safety squat bar or a different type of bar just to basically take that pressure off, which is 100% the plan. So after the British, providing it doesn't get any worse, like I want to make it very clear, I am not ignoring my elbow pain. To an extent I am, but I'm basically making sure I'm not making it any worse is kind of the approach I'm taking. So I'm still low bar squatting, which is definitely the thing that irritates it quite a lot, or maybe not irritates it, but it's the thing that I notice it the most on. And then after squatting, I do then notice it on bench a little bit. I have changed up my accessory days, and this is where I'm even more annoyed, because yesterday I had to change so many things. So I mentioned before, I can't remember what other movements I've taken out, but I took out pull-ups, or it was chin-ups, or like close grip pull-ups, whatever you want to call them, because they were something that I felt put a lot of strain on my elbow. Some days when I'm doing my accessories, if I'm doing a pulling movement in particular, it can hurt and hurt more than normal. So in that instance, I will either adjust my grip, change the way I'm doing it, or go lighter and just try and really focus on getting like a little bit of blood flow, but not necessarily pushing the movement, because then I won't irritate it anymore either. I've been doing lots of extra bicep work because that does make it feel better as well. And I've actually been pushing my bicep work, not that you can tell. Just gonna open my can. But yeah, I've been changing things up to make sure my elbow gets better. And I want to just say in response to this person, I haven't replied to their comment yet. The plan basically after British, once our home gym is set up, like I could buy a safety squat bar now and have it at my parents' house. They would not mind that at all, especially for the sake of keeping me healthier. But I don't want to change anything at the moment with squats. Squats are going incredibly well, so I'm just going to continue as I am. Obviously, if it gets considerably worse, I would 100% take low bar out one of my days, or reduce the amount of low bar I'm doing, and really make sure that I'm healthy going into these comps. But it isn't getting any worse, and it's fine. Like, it's not too much of a problem. I haven't been taking ibuprofen anymore. There was a while where I felt like I had to take it every session. I haven't taken it in ages actually, and yeah, generally speaking, my elbow's not too bad. But yeah, I literally keep going on tangents. The plan after British is going to be, if my elbow is still playing up but it hasn't healed, I will be taking out low bar volume and maybe putting in safety bar or high bar, probably safety bar to be honest, because I really want to push that variation, especially now that I have such a narrow stance on squats and I feel like I stay on my quads more. I think that would have good carryover for me anyway. And to be honest, I've pushed so hard since I think Manchester Open last year to try and like set myself apart from the other lifters in my weight category. And I'm still going to continue obviously with this work ethic, and I'm still going to continue pushing as hard as I possibly can. But I do think my body will need a little bit of a break after the British in November, and I think I will have the time to do that. So, I mean, I haven't had like a light, easy block in God knows how, like ever. I just haven't had one. So I do think after the British, basically my plan is going to be just to make sure that if there are any lingering niggles of any kind, no matter what it is, get that sorted, or get those sorted and continue. But one thing I am very good at is staying healthy. And I think that's something that a lot of powerlifters neglect, or it becomes a common thought, or like people think it's normal because I don't want to call myself elite, 'cause I don't think I'm elite, even though I think technically I probably would be classed as elite at this point. I don't know. Anyway, basically people argue that when you get to a certain level, you're hitting certain numbers regularly, it's normal to be injured, and I don't like that rhetoric. I don't think you should be normalising injury. Obviously you shouldn't panic if you get injured, because injuries are commonplace, like they are going to happen to majority of people probably, but it shouldn't be a case of living with injury. And I am very good at staying healthy. I'm very good at making sure that my lifters stay healthy, and any kind of injury we always deal with, or any kind of niggles or anything like that, we make sure to keep an eye on. And that is something that I am very good at on my own, or within my own training as well. I do listen to my body. And so, yeah, if things were actually worse, like when my back was playing up last year, like it hasn't played up in a year now, not properly. It hasn't gone in a year, I guess is the easiest way to explain it. And anytime there is any kind of slight pain or issue, I make sure to jump on that straight away. So yeah, I just want to basically say, it might seem like I'm ignoring some of these niggles or injuries, but I'm really not. My thumb, maybe I've been ignoring, but that definitely doesn't count as an injury. That was just a stupid outside of training thing. But this entire tangent was to say that last night I got a bit annoyed. Not annoyed. Basically, the first movement on my Thursday accessory day is dumbbell chest press. It is probably my favourite movement of all. Since I started training, that has been a movement. That was the first movement that taught me I was strong. I remember dumbbell chest pressing like 30s, 32s when I was like 17 years old, and I was training with like one of the not powerlifters, one of the bodybuilders that worked at the gym I went to at the time. It was like a little hotel gym, and all of the guys around me were like my age or a few years older, teenage boys, and I was dumbbell pressing more than them. And the guy that I trained with regularly was always encouraging me, being like, you're stupidly strong, you're stupidly strong. And that was the first movement that taught me I was strong, basically. So I love dumbbell chest press. And recently I've been regularly hitting the 36s and the 38s. Last week I managed 2 sets with the 38 dumbbells. And basically my goal is to get to regularly hitting 40 kilo dumbbells. And then obviously I want to eventually get higher than that, like lifelong goal. I say lifelong goal. I don't think it will be lifelong. I think I'll get there and more probably. If I hit the 50s on dumbbell press one day, I will like cry with happiness. And that is kilos, just to reiterate that. Like, I've been basically doing 38 kilos last week for 2 sets, and then I'll do a drop set to like 30s, 32s, and just do as many reps as I can. And yeah, so Thursdays, I really enjoy that session. It's like a bit more of a bro out session. I don't have legs, it's just upper body, push myself, enjoy it. However, when I warm up for dumbbell press, I start at the 20s. I just do like 5 reps at 20s just to basically make sure that there's no niggles or anything, make sure that everything feels healthy, get a good stretch, good range of motion to prepare myself to then jump to like 30s, 32s, and then I'll jump to whatever I want to lift that day depending on how strong I'm feeling. I kicked the 20 kilo dumbbells back, and literally the pressure it put on my thumb, just from, I mean obviously it wasn't actually on my thumb, it was like the surrounding area, but the ache had kind of spread at this point. Basically, I didn't do any reps. I literally held it out in front of me and I had to just put them back down. And I was like, I literally can't do this. I literally could not do it because it was so painful. And I have a very high pain tolerance, and I am good at ignoring pain if I know it's not a big issue. Like my thumb's not going to just snap off or anything. It's just aching. Obviously I need it to heal, so I do need to be careful. But yeah, normally I would probably have ignored that pain and pushed through it, but it was so painful that I couldn't. So I basically had to change up pretty much my entire session yesterday. I had to use a machine. Luckily my gym has decent machines, to be fair. I had to use a chest press machine. We've been doing like a very high incline, I don't want to call it a shoulder press because it's more of like a high incline chest press because I don't want to put too much pressure on my shoulder. But I had to change to a shoulder press machine, which to be fair I actually really enjoyed, and I might keep that in from now on. I managed to do tricep dips. Pull down was weak as hell. But I think that was because I did that near the end because I couldn't get on the machine any earlier. Single arm row was okay, but it was a bit niggly on my elbow. I can't remember what else we did, but basically I had to change up a lot of it. And then when I had to do skull crushers, I used dumbbells for my skull crushers, and again I couldn't grip the dumbbell. There were no dumbbells free either. I normally use like 8 or 10 kilo dumbbells because this is right at the end of the session. It's like a burnout movement, 3 sets, as many reps as possible on all 3, and just like really short rest breaks. And I had the 6s because no other dumbbells were free. So I was like, oh, we're gonna have to do really high reps. I couldn't hold them. I had to get my boyfriend to basically place the top of it in front of me. He had to basically hold it in front of me for like a good 30, 40 seconds while I was figuring out what hand placement I could use to not put pressure on my thumb. And then when I figured out how I could hold it, it looked ridiculous. And I was basically just balancing it in my palm, and he literally looked at me like I was a fool, but it worked, it was fine. But basically what I was gonna say was, my body is not in a good way. Like, it's not awful, it's not that bad, but I'm just annoyed. My thumb is basically annoying me more than anything else because it's such a stupid thing. Like, I was literally just tipping garden waste into the tip at the recycling centre, and I swear to God my thumb popped out and in, and it was weeks ago and it still really hurts, and deadlifts made it a little bit worse. But then I think actually next week, if I have to literally like drop my deadlift from like an inch above the floor and just not have that rebound, I'm gonna have to. But yeah, basically I don't even know where I was going with that. I definitely had a point earlier that I was gonna try and make when I did this video, but I haven't, and I've just gone on a massive tangent. But basically, I just want to reiterate that I am doing what I can to stay healthy, but I'm also fed up with the fact that, I say fed up, this is the first time I've had to change anything. And it wasn't my elbow that caused it either, it was my thumb. I just got to pray that my thumb gets better, but it's really hard not to use your left hand. Like, I'm not left-handed, but I always use my left hand for things. I think because when I'm working or whatever, like my mouse is in my right hand, I tend to type mostly with my right hand, I guess. I don't really know. I hold my phone in my right hand. Left hand is for like other bits, like my drinks, and can't. Oh, and also I notice when I cook, I always pick the pan up with my left hand, and like whether, like if let's say I've got pasta or something in it, and I'll like use my left hand to then pour it into the colander or the sieve or whatever I'm using with my right hand. And that's a lot of weight on my left hand when my thumb hurts, I've discovered too. So yeah, basically I've just come on here to absolutely go on a tangent about my thumb really hurting, and my elbow is improving, but it still also hurts. Although I haven't noticed it today, to be fair. I keep like stretching my arm out to see if I can feel it. But basically I'm just going to be really careful with my accessory movements for the next few weeks, just to make sure that when I say careful, I'm still going to push them. I push my accessories all to failure near enough, but I'm going to just adjust what I do and machines and stuff that I use just in the meantime until things feel 100% again. But yeah, there was also one other issue that I'm having. I've literally just come on here to complain, sorry. The other issue that I'm having is, for years now, on and off, if it was consistent, I would have definitely been more worried about it. I get woken up with a numb arm. Like my right arm just gets really numb. I probably have mentioned this in the past, but it's been impacting my sleep the last few nights really badly, and I just don't feel like I'm recovering, which is actually why I think the point I was trying to make was that I don't feel like I'm recovering. Even though like Wednesday my session felt great and I felt really good going in, and I'm sure tomorrow for my main like Saturday session I'm gonna feel great going in and I'm gonna feel fine, but it's like in the evenings I just like plummet. I have no energy left. I'm cranky and I'm just exhausted, and it's just really frustrating. Like I keep getting woken up. I can normally get like 4 hours, maybe 4 or 5, and then my arm just wakes me up, and it's annoying because no matter what position I lay in, how I have my arm, anything, like I can be sat upright and it will just still go numb, and it's just really frustrating. But I did go to the doctors 3 years ago as well, I would like to just point out, but they were not very helpful, so I just kind of ignored it. Probably could see a physio, but it's fine. I think it is worse when I have a lot of tightness, and at the moment I have a lot of tightness, which probably just coincides with the fact that I am also stressed, and then obviously not sleeping with stress, my body is just a bit tighter. So yeah, that was actually my point. I don't feel like I'm necessarily recovering as well as I could be, and also my activity and stuff is quite high again now that I'm like 100% healthy. I said 100% healthy, clearly not, but now that I'm like over my illness that I had as well, my activity levels are pretty high. I am in my calorie deficit. It's not a massive deficit at all. It's probably like 200-300 calories deficit, so it's really minor, and I'm still eating enough food that I'm not like hungry or anything, and I'm packing my food with lots of like fruits, veg, like salad, high fiber foods, high volume foods is what I was trying to say. But yeah, I think the combination of everything, just maybe I'm not recovering as well as I could be, but I'm just gonna see kind of how I feel. One good bit of news though, there is actually good news. Mostly things are really good, to be fair. It's just like little things, and I feel like every week I come on, I'm like, yeah, I feel really good, but actually in all honesty at the moment I don't feel great. But yeah, one thing that is good is I mentioned in one of my last couple of videos that I was sitting around 86.5 kilos since being ill, and the plan was to basically try and be 85.5 or less by the time I go on my friend's hen do, which is the bank holiday weekend at the end of August. I think we leave on like the 25th. So on Monday morning, I was 85.9 kilos, which means by the time I go on this hen do, I might even be 85 or below, which would be perfect. I would love to fly to South Africa around 84.5 to 85. That is kind of the goal, so that when I get there, I'm probably going to be basically gut cutting without meaning to anyway, because of the food available. Like, I'm not going to be able to cook my own foods. I'm a very fussy eater, so my fruit and veg will probably be a lot lower. So basically my fibre will probably be lower when I'm out there anyway. Obviously it depends, and it depends what's available. That there are a lot of different food places on the resort that I can definitely go to. But my plan is to try and basically fly over there 85-ish, lower if possible. But I also am going to try and be very strict about not losing any weight in the block into comp, because for my last comp, if you watch that series, you know that my weight plummeted when we moved. I didn't talk about it too much, but I know I mentioned it a few times. Like, I lost a lot of weight like the couple of weeks after we moved house. So, and that was when I was like 3, 4, 5 weeks out. So basically this time I want to be at maintenance going into comp rather than in a deficit. I do think my body generally feels a lot healthier when I am a bit lighter anyway. So that's another reason, like, I want to get down to like 85-ish and just maintain that. If I can get to comp weight in advance, I will also be fine with that, as long as I don't feel like I'm kind of pushing in a deficit too much. Like, I'm probably not going to adjust my calories between now and then. I might. So tomorrow, also exciting news. This has been the longest talking segment ever. I'm so sorry. I just need another drink. Yeah, so tomorrow we are going to pick up our home gym equipment. So a little bit terrified, which also probably is adding to the stress because we've got a hire van and it is my responsibility to drive the hire van, of course. Partly because I'm a control freak that would be terrified that someone else would crash it. But tomorrow morning we need to get up early and go collect the hire van, and then go and collect all of our gym kit that we've bought and put it all in the garage. We won't be using it until the garage roof is done. I'm sure I've mentioned this. I might even talk about this in the last video. But yeah, we won't be using it until the garage roof is done, probably. But who knows, once it's here, you never know. But what I would like to do, which I might just do, basically once we've got the kit in and we can see what fits, I really want to get a cross trainer. I feel like I've definitely spoken about this in a recent video. But yeah, I want to get a cross trainer, and I think that will be a good way for me to potentially drop a bit more weight. And if my weight comes off too quickly or too much, I will then increase my food a little bit, because I would rather do the extra movement regardless, because I know I feel better in myself when I'm doing more cardio and things. And there is nothing that makes me feel better. Well, in the moment I hate it, so I maybe need someone to remind me of this when the time comes. In the moment I hate it, but doing like 15, 20, 30 minutes on a cross trainer, nothing too crazy, just steady state, slight resistance, but nothing much. And then doing like 15, 20 minutes of just a full body stretch. Again, nothing stress, nothing like major, nothing crazy, just really relaxing. Basically, I like to just do some cardio and stretch, but I feel like the cross trainer is like 0 impact or very low impact. It really helps my hips loosen off, like all the muscles around my pelvis loosen off, and that's one of the best things for my lower back anyway. Combine that with then stretching straight after, like I know I feel really good when I do that regularly, so that is something that I am excited to implement again. And I need people to hold me to the fact that I just said that, because I guarantee when we get one, I'm not going to want to go on it, and it's going to take a lot of effort for me to actually get the machine going on, especially at the moment when it's really hot here in our garage. To be fair, our garage actually doesn't get, well, I haven't spent tons of time in there, but I don't think it gets crazy warm. It's actually like in the shade a little bit, like there's not tons of sun on that side of the garden, so maybe it'll be all right. I don't know, but yeah, I'm excited for that. And to be fair, most things, even though I've just complained for like this entire segment, which I don't even know how long I've been talking, but I've definitely been talking for too long. Even though I've been complaining, actually things are really good. I'm also feeling like I'm so excited for my squats. I have no idea what I'm going to be squatting at Commonwealth, let alone British, like 6 weeks after, but like my body feels really good when I'm squatting as well. Like I don't have any niggles that are impacting squats. Like obviously I can feel my elbow a little bit, but by the time I've warmed up to my top set, I don't notice it anymore because I'm distracted by the weight on the bar. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what I can squat, and I think it's almost more exciting, and I'm not putting any pressure on myself because I don't know where bench is going to be. I don't know where deadlifts are. They are just kind of ticking along on their own in the back. I'm not going to know where they are until way closer to the time. Obviously I've got a little bit of an idea, but not really. And squats are the one that are progressing at a rate I couldn't have even anticipated, especially like I haven't really changed my squat programming up. The only thing I've done is taken out my fatigue singles, which is weird because I thought that that would, if anything, make me more nervous, because obviously I'm not getting any singles practice in or exposure to singles. I'm actually more excited. I think, yeah, I'm really excited for how squats are going to go at comp. I also think, I'm going to stop talking in a second because this is ridiculous. I think nominations or preliminary nominations have closed. Final nominations don't close until 4 weeks out, so I've got ages for those. But I think, I need to check the dates, but I have a feeling no more names can now be added to the list. And let me just check this before I just talk complete shit. But I have a feeling I am nominated in third, which the 2 girls that are nominated first and second, or the 2 women that are nominated in first and second, are probably a little bit out of reach. Never say never, because who knows. But what's really cool is 3rd is me, and then 4th and 5th, we're all pretty close. And we're all GB lifters as well. One is from Wales, one is from Scotland. I don't know the lady from Scotland, but I do know the lady from Wales. She's incredibly competitive, so I think it's going to be a battle for 3rd, and I think it's going to be really fun. And all of us have similar squats as well. Having said that, I'm expecting my squat to be way ahead by this point, but I'm not writing anyone off. Who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, no, I think there's 8 in my weight category, if you don't include the reserves, and I am currently nominated 3rd. Jodie, who is the girl from Wales, has totaled more than me in her last comp a couple weeks ago, but only by 7.5, I think. I can't remember, something like that. And obviously my total was on a 6 for 9 day. So I think at the moment we're all very close, and I think it's going to be really fun, basically. I'm also not getting too wrapped up in the nominations either. I'm literally just going to go and be in my own world, have fun with whoever's handling me, and just enjoy the day, because that's when I perform best. And honestly, I think I'm going to be by far the strongest I've ever been at this point. My last comp didn't showcase any of the strength that I have. Like, it was not a good day. This time I'm going to be way more on top of everything. Life is a bit more calm as well. Like obviously last time I literally moved house and then I competed, which is just not good timing. Where this time, you know, business is keeping me very busy, but I like that. I like to have that to focus on. And also seeing my lifters do really well makes me want to do really well for them almost. Like, not that they really care how I do, but it's like, it's motivating seeing other people do well. And when it's like my own team of lifters as well, obviously it's their work, their credit, but it's motivating to see. So I feel like I need to do well to show up for them as well. So yeah, basically very excited. Also, I'm gonna stop talking in a second, I promise. On a coaching note, I am now expanding my roster. So I have got quite a lot of spaces. Now I won't be taking loads of people on at once, but basically I will spread them out over like every week and a half, 2 weeks. But I am expanding my roster. So if you or anyone you know is interested in coaching by me, please do get in touch. You can go on my website, which I think is linked on my YouTube channel. I'm not very good at the techie side of YouTube, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't really given it any time or effort. I just like to upload my videos and kind of run away and hide. But yeah, so my website, smartertoncoaching.com. There is a form you can fill out on there if you want to inquire. There are also testimonials on there that some of my clients have left as well. And then also if you want to go on Instagram and just DM me, you can also do that. But I'm going to stop talking because I've been talking for so long that my camera is about to die. So if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so, so much. I genuinely appreciate it. I don't know how you've put up with this much of my talking, but I appreciate it. I'm grateful. Let me know down below if you've made it to the end. Please leave a like, please leave a comment, please subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you on Monday for the next video.
It's alright.